Today in class, we talked about multiple alleles. And multiple alleles, if we go back in our notes, is one of the exceptions to Mendel's principles. And so far, we've been just talking about two alleles. So we first started out talking about the dominant or recessive allele, and then we talked about those two alleles, but acting a little bit different. If it's incomplete dominant, the two different alleles actually created a new phenotype. And in codominance, the two different alleles being present actually showed that both phenotypes were expressed. But now we're changing it up. Multiple means many. So in this case, there's several alleles. So in the whole population, some genes are going to have more than two alleles. We're going to focus on the ABO blood groups today. There's also, I've seen other problems with rabbit fur color. We're going to focus in on the blood groups. So we are going to take a look at different blood types, and specifically, these are the alleles. There's an A allele, a B allele, and an O allele. And the alleles contain instructions to make antigens on the red blood cell membrane. So it's important to look at this picture in your notes that in a blood type A, these red blood cells are carrying antigen A on the surface. The blood type B are carrying B antigens, so that allele is indicating to make these antigens on the red blood cell membrane. And then in AB, notice both antigen A and antigen B are present on the red blood cell membrane. And O, there are no antigens present on the cell membrane surface. So if you're wondering what an antigen is or what the significance is of the surface, we had talked about carbohydrate chains being on the cell membrane surface, and they're involved in cell-to-cell recognition. So it's sort of like they recognize what belongs and what doesn't. Well, our immune system is going to make antibodies that are going to recognize if something doesn't belong. So if you take a look in blood type A, they have antibodies that are going to attack any cells that have B antigens on their surface. And in blood type B, they're making antibodies that have anything that's going to attack a cell with A antigens on its surface. In AB blood, there are actually no antibodies because otherwise it would be attacking its own cells. However, in O blood cells, they are going to have both A and B antibodies floating around because they're used to there being no antigens on the surface of their cells. So you can think of these, the reason we pay close attention to who gets what blood is because it can be damaging for the immune system. If these antibodies actually do attach to these cells, clot can form or a clump, and that could lead to problems, possibly even death. So if we take a look, depending upon, this is the blood type, so this would be the phenotypes. The genotypes, there's actually two ways to write them, using the I, which is going to stand for antigen, and the superscript, or just using the actual letters. I personally prefer to use the genotype in this column. So when you take a look at type A blood, the genotypes AA or AO would both produce type A blood. We would say if this person was type A, they would be homozygous for type A. This individual would be heterozygous for type A. Type B is going to, if it has both B alleles, it would be type B. If it has one B allele and one O allele, it's still going to be type B because A and B are both dominant over O blood type or the no antigens. And then if we take a look at AB, this is a unique situation, which we talked about yesterday, and is codominant. A and B are both dominant, so they create a new blood type when they're present together called type AB blood. And finally, O is only going to develop type O blood when both alleles are the O alleles. So we did do a sample problem, a woman who is heterozygous for type A and a man who is type O blood. What are the possibilities of their offspring? And we said there's a 50% chance they'd have type A blood and a 50% chance of type O blood. Not going to have any offspring here with type B blood or type AB blood. So for homework, the worksheet review was multiple alleles worksheet. And we asked you to complete that. We worked on that in class. And then also in another small group, we worked with ABO blood types. Again, just kind of reinforcing what we talked about with the blood types. So those are the two assignments for homework tonight. Good luck.